Greetings. When we look out today, we have all of the police brutality, abortion. They're saying that there are more black people being aborted than ever before in the history of our sojourn in North America. It's hard to get gainful employment, even when you have a master's or doctor's degree. You still relying on white people to employ us. And we cannot criticize white people. We must blame ourselves. When we look at the percentage of black people going into the armed forces, but not creating businesses, not creating jobs, in many instances it is because the banks are still redlining. This is well documented. I went to Washington, D.C. about 4 weeks ago, and the NCRC, the National Community Reinvestment Coalition, addressed these issues. When you look at how black people are viewed in this nation by many white organizations and even some black people that are on the other side of the fence fighting against their own fellow black Americans. Some people call them Uncle Toms and some call them Aunt James, bootlickers, and a whole lot of other ugly names. But if I may, let me say to my people, black folk, this means war. The president of these United States have proven over and over again by his actions that he do not like black people. And he have a war with women, strong black intellectual women. And so we must understand that this means war. Not war as you know it, not war with the gun, but this is all-out war, even to the point of genocide. They want the red, the black, and the brown totally eliminated from the planet Earth. Not all white people. You see some white people walking the streets with black men and black women as husbands, wife, and in total love. So I come this morning to tell the black race and the white right people who want to do right, who follow the real Jesus, who follow the real Allah, the real Jehovah, the real Elohim, the real 428 other name that I have record of that God is called. You who know real love, you who know the real devil when you see him or her, because you can follow him in terms of what fruits fall from his tree. And I want black people to understand something. This is perhaps the best message your grandparents and your mother left you, that you would know the forces of the underworld, which emerged themselves with death, discrimination, genocide of all other races that did not look like them. You should know them by what your parents taught you. This means war. And so, when you hear me say this means war, what do I mean by that? It means that when a community know and understand that they are being attacked, they are sought out for death and destruction. Their children are being programmed and ignored even on the cartoons that you see. You don't even notice that there are very few black cartoons. And the ones whose faces are brown, they're not talking or speaking with the black dialect. They don't even have hair like a black person. And so this is mind control, which carrying on white supremacy. You can't weigh it no other way but that way. This means war. When you look at CNN and you notice 6 to 8 people around the tables discussing the Trump alleged collusion with Russia, etc., etc., how many black men do you see giving their opinion in power and in a leadership position? That should send a message to you, black man, black woman, and white right people. This means war. Many of you went to college, got your degrees, and then if the white man or those in power do not hire you, you freeze in your 32-degree water. Can't find a job to take care of your family. You graduated from high school. You went to get your little 4-year degree. You went back. You got your master's and your PhD. And still, you're in the IT field. And they won't hire you. What can you do but get you a job for $7 or $8 an hour to take care of the 13 babies that you produced? You thought you were going to be successful. We are at war. This means war, but not with the gun. This means we are at war with truth. We are at war with lies. We stand for what is truth. And the enemies of right and righteousness are on the battlefield to destroy every ounce of what is called equality, justice, and freedom for all. So I want black people to understand, along with the few white right people that we found in our community and that exists, let us understand that this means war. And once you understand that all white people do not want you destroyed, but there are so many that have taken the satanic oath. They have taken the satanic oath, just like their mothers and their fathers did before them. Governor Wallace, Lester Maddox, Bull Connors, J. Edgar Hoover, Jim Crow, Jefferson Davis, Nathan Bedford Forrest, and so many others come from a long line of haters, white supremacists. But don't hate them. You don't have to hate them. God told our ancestors, and my grandmother and my great-grandmother passed it on to me along with my mother, that you don't have to fight the wicked. God declared that that battle does not belong to you. That battle belongs to me, saith the God of our ancestors. And he went further to say, and that's why I say it so much, if you hold your peace, black man, black woman, and black children. I'm not saying go to church and just play the religious games that have been passed down through indoctrination and incarceration into a box that many of us can't get out of. I want you to pray and ask God to keep me out of that box. You see, I got out one day and I refused to go back inside of that religious box where I stand up for nothing. This means war. But those who sit in church and cannot speak the truth outside of their denomination, outside of the four walls of their church, that's not the way, man. That's not the way. You've got to understand that when we see you just sitting in church, we got to speak up for you because we know you scared as hell. You talk about you want to go to heaven, but you'll never address any of the issues that are keeping your people and your children and your grandchildren and great-grandchildren oppressed and keeping them out of power. They can't even vote, and they remove them from office when they vote, but you don't stand up with the people who are fighting for those people, and the news media is in cahoot with the white supremacists, and they will not publish the real cutting-edge truth that affects black people. So this is war. Don't expect the white-dominated news media to tell your story because this is war. When you go to city council and county commissioners meeting and you see how they give all the contracts to white contractors, the poor, white, and black contractors are not in the mix before or after 6, just say to yourself, this means war. And on the battlefield, under the new covenant, the only instruments we have, the only weapons that we can use is the war and the weapon of truth. Expose the devil worshippers. And when these people in power do not want for you that which they want and have for their own children and their own relatives, then let you know that they are at war with you. And if they are at war with you, this means war. So all we have to fight with is call them. They're going to call you a reverse racist. But they got all the money. They got all the power. And Donald Trump is exposing all of this. You see how he don't have to pay taxes. And his white comrades and a few Uncle Toms and Aunt Janes, they back him up. But if you would come to your senses and understand that if you was in Trump's shoes, you could wear his shoes, but you would be behind bars. You would lose your home. You would lose your high rises. The government, along with the power of law enforcement and the judges, would have taken away your rights a long, long time ago. So understand, when you see Donald Trump define the Attorney General, define the Congress and the Senate, understand that this means war. This means war, y'all. And we who served in the armed forces, you know that if we had just associations with the Russians or communists in Bangkok, Thailand, Udon, Utapao, Greenland, Karat, Okinawa, Japan, if we had just sat down with Russians or communists, we could have been discharged. But look, here comes the President of the United States, and his cohorts have done worse than any airman, sailor, or any person in the armed forces. And he get away scot-clean. I'm going to say it again. This means war to the House of Representatives. This means war senators. This means war. FBI. This means war. And in this war, only thing we have to fight with is truth. Democrats. So Democrats highlight the atrocities that have happened under President Donald Trump. Don't repeat or follow what he says. Those are only distractions. Stay focused on the truth. Stay focused on the lies that he has given to the American people and around the world. CNN, we don't need your opinions. We don't even need the opinions of these white people you surround yourself with on TV to indoctrinate us. Just give us the facts of that man. Give us the facts surrounding Sessions. Give us the facts surrounding Barr. Give us the facts, and we will decipher it. We don't need your opinions. Many of the opinions anyway that you give us white people is only from the white perspective. So when you see all these white people giving opinions on the world stage, remember, ask yourself, where is the voice of the strong black leading men? The men carry the sperm that sperminate the female to bring her forth life. And so if you disrespect the head, the tail is going to drag. Other words, let me put it where you can get it before I close. All the white people that you see on CNN, they're giving their opinions on the world stage, the local stage, on economics and politics. Replace them with all black men and a few, 2 or 3 white women, and see what white folks will do. They don't want the creative mind of the black man to expand on this planet. Personally, I'm going to say this. I believe in life sources beyond our planet and galaxy. And another thing I say, I mostly keep this to myself, but because this means war. All that we see means war. And until black folk accept that we are at war, you will continue to be the casualties on the battlefield that you don't even recognize. So I believe that there are life sources out there. I believe this government have made connection with extraterrestrials. And I believe, from what I've studied and listened to the right people, they are exchanging information about technology. This is why technology is moving so fast. That just means I ain't got no real backup. The government got it, but I don't. I also believe that their technology is thousands of years more advanced than ours. And if they have mastered the art of gravitation, just the idea of their technology on this planet would destroy the stock market, will cause chaos in our world. And if by chance the extraterrestrials are our black ancestors, I repeat, if they are black, then you can see why they don't want you to know about them. But with all that we hear and have heard, and that our grandparents have relayed to us about white supremacy, if the extraterrestrials was of a European nature, I think they would have exposed them to let the world know that they are the superior race. But race should not be an issue. I learned years ago that race is spelled R-A-C-E. And if you're wise enough to take your pencil and erase the R in front of race, you got the word ace. Ace. And God wants the ace of all life sources to be the best of whatever they are. You see, we are relatives to the ant. We're first cousins to the bumblebee. The honeybee is our grandpop. The earth is our great-grandmother. The ocean is our first cousin. When you take away the oxygen and you pollute it, when you pollute the water, contaminate the air, and geoengineer is changing the weather to the degree that we've never seen it before. Big Mama Earth suffers. Your first cousins suffer. The ocean suffers. The honeybee suffers. We all on this ship, traveling through time together. Believe the Bible or reject it. The book of Genesis say he gave us dominion. And if we have dominion, and if we cannot value the life sources of all God's creatures, then we don't deserve to be here. And so I believe in my heart of hearts that God is too wise, number one. He is too powerful, number two. And number three, he's too awesome. Too awesome to leave his creation in the hands of the wicked man that is in power today. And so I believe if the extraterrestrials from outer space, technology is over what we know, they will destroy us because we are not fit to be saved. And so they trying, I believe, to get us to love and accept one another. But if that fails, I believe in truth, the extraterrestrials will have no alternative but to destroy all of us for the sake of the universe. For the sake of the universe. Who can say that we were not a test project? All colors and shades to try and see if we could get along without destroying each other and destroying the earth in the process. And most all of us that can see today, we know that we have blown that chance. We are proving that we can't get along with nobody or nothing. We can't, and we wouldn't leave the air alone, so we polluted it. So we can charge people a fee to clean it up. We polluted the water, now we have to pay for water. Can't even drink the water as we used to. Gave us different skin colors that some of us could stay in the sun and some of us had to stay out of the sun. And we had to learn how to get together and respect the diversity and the qualities that God gave and thrust upon each of us. He even gave us insects that we don't even study and understand that our life is intertwined with what he made. There's nothing that God made that does not serve a purpose. You kill all the snakes you see, and snakes will eat the rats. Snakes will help balance the ecosystem. Trees give us oxygen that we need to breathe, and we push all of the trees down so we can increase the dollar. Some people have more money than they'll ever spend because of greed. I can't get enough. Can't get enough. I know. I know y'all sick of me talking. It's okay. It's okay. I wish more people would talk. I wish I could get 20 people tomorrow in Valdosta that will call me up from my YouTube channel and say, Ryan, we want to sit down for an interview. Because we want to give our opinion like you give it. And I grant it to you. Because I want to hear from you. And I'm going to say this. If by chance, I'll say it again. If by chance, I will say it again. If by chance the extraterrestrials are listening, and if you want somebody to talk to you, I don't want you dead. I don't want to kill you. I seek to understand you. I seek to learn how I can love you and accept you. And I'm not the only one. God is bringing little children into the world who are looking to make contact with other life sources from beyond the clouds. Because they know we need help on this planet. We need some serious help. We have mothers and fathers who will fly a jet plane and spray chemicals in the air called the chemtrails. And they won't even tell the American people what they're doing. There are people that work in the CDC in Atlanta. They know what's going on behind closed doors, but they won't tell you. Some of it is destructive, but they won't tell you. There are people in the armed forces who need to level with the American people. You see. But they don't care enough about their own children. They don't care enough about their own government to try to help save America from herself before she destroys herself. But before the end of time, they're going to become human beings. They may have to come from the stars. God going to give us some human beings who going to tell the truth, because they're going to love their children enough, and they're going to love your children enough that they can't go along with the lie of Satan and Beelzebub. There are men who have the access to the Alexandrian library, information, all that the Catholic Church didn't burn up and destroy. Somebody have been beneath the Vatican and read the books. They're going to talk to. That's why my Jesus said, heaven and earth would pass away, but my word would stand forever. This is why Jesus said, I am the way, the truth, and the life. In other words, you say you want to be like Jesus. I'm talking about the real Jesus. What do you know about Jesus? Do you see Jesus as a man? Or do you see Jesus as a word of truth? And that's why he said, and ye shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. If a man don't come to you, and if a woman does not come to you today, while these people play these mental games with you, if somebody don't come to you with truth, you will never be free. Never. If God don't speak to you through the Holy Spirit, through dreams and visions, you will never be free. Dr. King was just one of many that God gave a speck of truth. And he died. Not that he died, he was murdered by the United States government. He was murdered. But he died a free man. And he left it on record that if a man haven't found something that he's willing to die for, he isn't fit to live. Now they are attacking Minister Louis Farrakhan. And they are attacking other people who think outside the box of incarceration and indoctrination. But who cares? Why don't you join them rather than condemning them? Why don't you speak the truth in your head and what you have been taught? Why don't you speak the words of Jesus? And Jesus told the Jews, something that people ignore. Jesus called them serpents. Farrakhan repeated the words of Jesus, and they call him an anti-Semitic something. These same people that don't want you to speak ill of the Jews, the white Ashkenazi Jews that are masquerading as the real Jews in Israel. They know who they are. If I know it, I'm from the backwoods of South Georgia, and my study have broken it all down. I know what they want. They want to kill all the Palestinians. They want all of that land. And you can say what you want, talking about what God said. God also said to love you one another. God also said, if properly understood, want for your neighbor that which you want to have for yourself. And I got a map, and I'm going to close on this note, I promise. I'm not going to lie this time. Although when I start talking to my family, I can't help myself. I bought a book about 2 or 3 decades ago from an ancient antique bookstore called Palestine. And when I read the book, and in the middle of that book was a map that unfolded. The copyright date on this book is 1938. And I got that map, and I went to a 1998 King James Version of the Holy Bible that you believe in. I unfolded that 1938 map, and I compared it with the map that they have in the 1998 copyrighted King James Version of what they call the Word of God. And so people ask me today, Ryan, do you believe everything in the Bible is truth? I say no. Heaven no. That 1938 map of Palestine shows Palestine all across that land mass there in 1938. But the updated New King James Version had Israel in the place of Palestine across that land mass. And they put a little tiny spot on the side called Palestine. Right then and there, I was able to do what my grandma told me to do. She said, always. So the Ashkenazi Jews, the European type, they want all of that land. They don't want the Palestinians to have nothing. And you say, God say, that he who bless Israel, he would bless. And he that curses Israel, he would curse. Well, you need to understand that. And you need to understand what the real Israel is. And you need to understand what Israel is. It's 3 gods in one. Isis, Ra, God, Amun-Ra, and El Shaddai. 3 gods in one. They create what they want, and they destroy it when they want to destroy it. And they do it in the name of a God that the real spirit of my God don't even understand. In the circle of truth, right, and holiness, which is real love. If Israel was so holy, she would live in peace with the Palestinians. And if they couldn't live in peace, they wouldn't just slaughter them outright, because number one, the Palestinian people don't have nothing to fight with but their bodies and the life that God gave them. Israel got nuclear bombs. They could destroy Palestine. And that's their goal. If I know it, then you should know it too. The pastors know it. You don't have to go to school to understand that. If you pray hard enough and fast, God will reveal it to you. if you want it. But if you care nothing about truth, you will stay in the box of incarceration and indoctrination like sheep being led to the slaughter. And you won't even know that this means war. It's the war between truth and falsehood. It's the war between right and wrong. It's a war between light and darkness. It's a war between genocide and those that work behind the curtain and call themselves Christians. They work behind the curtain and call themselves Jews. They work behind the curtain and call themselves Buddhists. They are those who work behind the wall and reside in the house of Satan. In all of their work, they think they're winning the war. But they don't understand, as they shed innocent blood, that in this world that God created, He cannot fail. This is a test for us to see if we really love God, if we really have ever met the Spirit of Jesus in the light that Jesus stood. And I know some of you say Jesus never lived on the planet, that there was no history of that great man. Let me suppose with you that Jesus never existed. You see, I don't have a problem with either one. But if what they say Jesus spoke is in our mind and in our world, and if we don't have any greater words than what He spoke, and if He spoke about life over death, if He spoke about love over hate, if He spoke about putting the sword up and not shedding innocent blood, then what problem do you have with that teaching unless you are a Satan yourself? Bye-bye. We're gone.